Hi, it's Jeanette from my home studio, Far Forest Ceramics in the UK, and a little bit of a tutorial because I've had a few requests that people keep saying to me, I love your handles, how do you make your handles? You make it look so easy, because I just post short reels on Instagram, I don't really show my process. So I was just making some handles, put them in my damp box, and I thought, okay, I'm going to film this and I'll try and put it up, see if it's of any use to anybody. These are the handles that I make with a little flute on the bottom and riveting back in. I've got one that I've just put a thumb rest on the top of. So if you're interested to see how I make my handles, we all make them differently, there's no right way, no wrong way, but if you're interested to see, this is the video for you. Hope you enjoy. Thank you. So I thought I'd share how I do my handles. They're quite simple actually. I take a slab of clay straight out the bag, I just smooth the surface with a squeegee, and I've just got two diamond core tools, R7 and R8, birthday presents, and these are amazing because you can adjust the depth of your handle by adjusting this screw and the depth here, so you can see how deep they might be. And if you have your handle at an angle, it will create lots of drag marks. If you go level with the clay, it is nice clean cut lines. So I will always use clay directly out the bag, which is this half, because there are less air bubbles. I'm happy at that one. And my process is I've just marked on a board 2 centimetre intervals, so I can actually plan what length I want them all. I'm going to do these ones with a double stripe first. So what I'll do is I'll just clean up the edge first. So I've got a sharp edge. And then with a touch of corn flour on the end, I'll release it and then pat the end down. So the length of that area I'm patting down is, I would say, about 3 centimetres. And then if you release it, it lifts it up in the air slightly, which allows you then to curl the edge and curl it up. And then at that point, I'll turn that over, ready for the next stage. You can see when you release it from the board, it gives you an edge to curl up. And when I'm placing them over, I'll tend to align them all with one line. Just makes it easier for when I'm about to do the next stage, which is cutting the edge. Now I've made some handles for smaller mugs and I'm needing some for larger mugs. So I'm going to make these larger, which I can also trim down at a later stage. I don't mind these lines on the back that come from the cutter, but if you want to, you can smooth them. I don't usually do that very often, because by the time it's on the handle, you don't see it, but it is part of the feature. I will then just use a flower cutter because I find that works quite well. So I'm going to make these all 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, as close to 9 as possible, as in segments. Actually, I'm going to go halfway here. So I cut the cutter so it gives me, how can I explain that? Bit of corn flour and halfway. So I'm trying to get it to look like it's the end of a bolt. Not the end of a bolt. I don't even know what you call it, but that anyway. Right, these are ready now to go onto some formers. I just used some old tubes that came with something. They just work quite well. I will place the tip down first of all. Usually get 3 on one. And then I will roll it back. These are longer than normal, so this is going to add a bit of an extra problem, but I'll just leave it like that to dry a little bit first. So I roll it back on itself because I'm going to fold the handle back on itself. So I will leave those to set now for not too long. They're not going to go too firm enough just to hold their shape, but they're still pliable. And then I will put those in my damp box. This damp box, handles in here have been in for 4 months maybe. So I get one to show you how pliable it still is. I can still bend it, so if necessary I could still shorten it, give some pliability, but it's holding its shape. So this is where I will keep I'll use some of my bigger ones and then put any surplus in here. So then adding a handle is such an easy task when you've got them all in your damp box. So it's time to add my handles. So in my damp box I've got my small handles I made about 4 months ago, and then these larger ones that I made yesterday. So they're still flexible, but they're holding their shape. I'm going to try these now on my larger mugs that I've made. I have just a few things that I use to put my handles on. I have a lot of drill bits which I use to actually add texture onto my handle. I've got what I call my magic water slip. It's slip and magic water all mixed together, which works quite well. I also have an old felt pen tip which I like the head on it for my handle. A couple of brushes, sponge, and oh of course and a wire tool. I usually use a serrated rib, but I can't lay my hands on it at this second. So let's have a go. I just wanted to show you, I put my mugs underneath a plastic gardening cloche when I've got them to a nice level of greenware where it's firm enough to put the handle on, but I don't want them to dry out any further. It just slows down the process, which gives me more opportunity to get the handles on to suit my timeline. These plastic cloches I just got off Amazon. I think I just got 10 in a batch. They've got the holes in the top that you can regulate with the black turning knob, how much moisture you want to get in there, so it helps to dry something nice and slowly. When I've added my handle, I will put them back under the cloche with this closed so that hopefully the moisture regulates more, and then I slowly release the air going into it and eventually take the cloche out. Using this method, I've very rarely had any issues. I'm not saying I haven't, very rarely have issues with handles cracking or coming away from the form. So let's have a go at putting one on. So I'll choose a handle out, and then what I will do is have a look if I like the angle. Now these I made bigger on purpose so that I could trim down. So I would definitely have the bottom here. That is too big, so I want to trim this one down. Because it's flexible, that's easy to do. So I'll have it there. I just need to turn it around so I can get the size I'm looking at. I think I'm going to go for this sort of size, so I want to take it off approximately here. Turn it over. Cut the handle. I always cut it upside down because then it keeps the front a lot more undamaged. I don't know what the right word is, I'm sorry. Right, so always have my base not right at the bottom so that where the glaze drips, ideally if the mug is tall enough, I don't want the glaze to go straight onto the bottom of the mug. So if I put my handle here, I have extra space at the bottom for the glaze to drip because it will always pool around the handle. I bend the top over because that's what's going to attach to the top. I want to make sure that my handle is not above the rim. I would always attach the top first because I can get my hand underneath while I'm pressing between the body of the inside of the cup and the handle, and then I will align as best as the eye can to get it straight. And then when I feel I've got it fairly straight at this point, I will then press much further on the inside against the back. This is moving it slightly, so I will check it straight later with a moistened brush. I'll just clean up my edges. Surplus slip that's come out, I'll take away, smooth off all the edges, and then recheck the alignment. I don't do an awful lot around the bottom of the handle, as in mooshing it in, but I will take the top of the felt pen and at an angle, that's where I press hard, and that creates the angle of the curl to come out. Quite nice. And then I will take a chosen tip and put 2 holes there, like rivets. What I like is that the handle holds its shape quite well. Sometimes on the bigger ones I will add a thumb rest, but this one, in my opinion, it might start to lag down a little. What I do is just pop that on another bat, turn it upside down, and that means it's not come off the bat yet, which I'll let it dry off naturally. I can clean up the bottom of here, I can clean up any little nicks that I've caught my fingers on, but that will help the handle to keep its shape. I'll do that just for about half an hour and then I'll put this back under the cloche. Let's have a go at the next one. Okay. Exactly the same principle. Again, it's too tall. You start to know how much you want to chop off, but cutting them now you get a much sharper line. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, I like that. If there's a weaker part of your mug to put your handle, we always look to see. I don't know why, but I always tend to put it on a corner of a bat. No reason why. I don't actually know why I do that. Okay. That one was wonky, so I was just able to give it a twist. And you can see how this one is sagging, so this one I'll definitely be turning over. Seems to be sagging just that little bit more than I would like, so what I'll do is just add in there a wedge. So I've just popped this sponge in there just to give that little bit of more height at the top. I'm just trying to get it to match what I did on another one. Let's take this one over now and see if that's moving. Yeah, so literally just 10 minutes and it just sets it. So I have these cards that tell me the weight and each piece has a number. So when I take any videos or footage of photographs, I'll always have this in the image somewhere or in the video, which I can crop out later, but it means I can index all my videos and photos on my hard drive later easily. Now the pieces I've chopped off the bottom of each handle, because it's come out the damp box, it's still nice and soft, so I've just rolled that into a ball because I'm going to use that on the next handle, which has got, I want to put a thumb rest on, so I'll put that back in the damp box. So we have one more to do. I want to add a thumb rest in this, but first I'm going to put a little triangular piece in to aim to fill this bit here first. Right, I think I'm going to go with that. By the time I've smooshed it in, it should give me a level top to put the thumb rest on. I've got a number of sponges cut in different angles, which I'll tend to use to just create the shape I want. I think that's as much as I'm going to do until it hardens off a bit.